Benedetti Worley Stadium on the campus of North Central College in Naperville, Illinois is the site of girls high school soccer. And today we have the 2A state title matchup as the Rochester Rockets, who were the 1A champions last year, moving up a class this year, ready to take on the Deerfield Warriors here in the 2A girls class 2A state championship. We'll take a look at the brackets, how they got to this title game, both recording shutouts in the semifinals. Deerfield a 1-0 win over Wheaton St. Francis and a 2-0 win for Rochester over Sycamore as they win again here at Benedetti Worley Stadium, where they won a title in 1A last year. We welcome you down field level here in Naperville at North Central College. I'm Nathan Believa alongside Brian Beto, and we're ready for two high-powered teams to play in the 2A state title game. It's Deerfield and Rochester here today in 2A.
Well, Nate, it's an interesting dynamic in this game. You have Rochester, a team you mentioned won the 1A state title game a year ago. They have 5 double-digit scorers returning to their lineup. They're very experienced. Deerfield, on the other hand, appearing in their first state championship game here this afternoon.
Let's take a look at our key players for this game. You mentioned Rochester's high-powered offense, and it's led by Becca Justice, who scored a couple goals here at state last season.
Yeah, exactly. She has 29 goals this year, 28 last year, so she did surpass her total from a year ago, and 2 of those goals came in the state final win a year ago.
And if Deerfield's going to win, they got to stop that high-powered offense. That means it comes from their goalie, Sarah Eason.
Well, they've won a lot of low-scoring games this year. 29 games for Eason, just 14 goals allowed, including a shutout in the semifinal win last night.
When they get going back in the winter and moving into spring, the goal is to take home a state title. One of these two teams will take that trophy home, the first place state title in 2A. Back with the starting lineups and opening kick after this break on CSN Chicago.
The IHSA is achievement, focus, creativity, spirit, champions. The future plays here, the Illinois High School Association.
The IHSA State Championships on Comcast Sportsnet are brought to you by Country Financial. Visit countryfinancial.com. Country Financial will help you build a plan with insurance and financial solutions to help you get where you want to go. Call your local rep at 1-866-COUNTRY or visit countryfinancial.com today. Welcome back to Benedetti Worley Stadium at North Central College. Nathan Believa and Brian Beto with you as we are ready for the 2A state title game. Let's take a look at the starting lineups with the Rochester Rockets. Becca Justice, Amanda Williams, and Mason Garland are up front. Bailey Smith, who had 2 goals in the semi in the midfield with Allie Milnes and Maddie Capps. Maddie Schmidt, Kelsey Barron, Riley Ross, and Jamie Riedel are in the back. And Maddie Gleason, 0, is the goalkeeper for Rochester. Starting her 26th game, she's allowed 15 goals on the season as a 5'9" senior. For Deerfield, they will go up front with Chloe Capps, Erin Rosterwig, and Margot Sylvan. They made a change to get Ashley Morgan, a sophomore midfielder, into the lineup today with Inya Horgan and Melanie Imyak. Annie Sloan, Gabby Lazar, Shay Feldman, and Jesse Holloway are in the back, and Sari Eason, who we talked about in the open, is the keeper, and Deerfield pushes forward. First off the opening kickoff, in Rochester wearing their orange with a white stripe and black jerseys. Deerfield is in the white with the red numbers. Deerfield 22-6-1, Rochester 24-2-1, and Brian, this should be, despite the weather, heavy rain, and a little chillier than it was yesterday, should be a fantastic matchup between these two schools.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about some of the firepower for Rochester in the open, and rightfully so. And they can really score and mount up goals in a hurry. On the other hand, Deerfield, a little bit different style. They've won a lot of games with their defense and goalkeeping throughout the course of the season. They certainly can score as well, but we've seen a lot of 2-0, 1-0, including the semifinal win last night for Deerfield. So we'll see which style sort of prevails here this afternoon.
Of the 2 Spartans that these teams beat yesterday, it was Sycamore, who scored twice in the second half to claim the 3rd place trophy. Rochester beat Sycamore 2-0 yesterday in the semi. Deerfield beat Wheaton St. Francis 1-0, and in on goal right away is Rochester. They track back nicely and keep that ball away from Justice in the box, and Eason's all over it, and almost Rochester in on goal right away.
Yeah, and this is a great play by Issa, not just because she changed direction last second, but consider the field conditions right now. It's very tough to get traction down there, so Eason's somehow able to stop and reach around with that left hand to keep this one scoreless.
And if she spills that at all, Amanda Williams, number 8, was waiting on the doorstep. I was just about to say we'll see how nerves play into this at all as Mason Garland pushes it forward for Rochester. Deerfield never been to state before yesterday. They had a much shorter trip and drive than Rochester coming up from the Springfield area, but Deerfield's first ever trip to state. They have in the postseason outscored opponents 18-4. Here's Williams in again, and Easton is on it. Rich Grady is their head coach. 129 wins, 82 losses, and 30 ties in his 11th year. They won 14 games last year, now 22 this year, which is the most they've won under him. But their first trip to state, and for Rochester and Coach Chad Kuchar, this is old hat by now. They won it all in 08. They got second in 14. They won it all last year. The only difference this year, it's a weekend later because they're not in 1A, they're in 2A.
Right. Yeah, the experience, obviously something to keep an eye out for Rochester, and the lack thereof for Deerfield. And it's not just the experience with the schools, it's this specific group that has a lot of experience for the Rockets.
And here is Chad Kuchar, the head coach in his 9th year, 170 wins. As we look for the throw-in. And on the sideline, we've got the throw-in coming for the Deerfield Warriors moving forward.
Yeah, first real chance for Deerfield and that end of the field. We've seen it predominantly in the opening couple of minutes with their backs near their own net.
Here is Rich Grady on the Deerfield sideline. Mentioned his record, 129 wins now, 82 losses, and 30 draws for Coach Grady. A throw in coming. Rush, you got me. We get the ball back near midfield. Rochester sending it towards the sideline and out of bounds.
Yeah, I was just waiting for players to kind of slip on over. It had been spitting rain throughout the course of the day, and then a torrential downpour occurred right before these two teams took the field, and we were caught right at the tail end of it during the open. It's like, you know what, if the players have to deal with the conditions, why not the broadcasters too, right? So it'd be interesting to see it hasn't really stopped the fans from coming out. You see all the umbrellas throughout the stadium. But these parents and siblings are so used to it. Ever since these girls were probably about 4 or 5 years old, they've been going to cold, rainy Saturday morning soccer games throughout the course of their lives. What's one more time, right?
You talk about the umbrella. Rochester head coach Chad Kuchar sitting under the umbrella, and he has not moved since this game started. Chad Kuchar has been sitting under the umbrella since the match started. His assistant coach is up and walking on the track earlier. There's Chad right in the middle on the umbrella next to the gentleman with the hat, former Rochester Rockets star, and actually played against him quite a bit growing up and going to Chatham-Glenwood. And we went head-to-head, both indoor and outdoor, and much better player than I ever dreamed of being. But he went on and played college soccer
it was better.
as well. Yeah, no, definitely Chad. He played college soccer, and the Springfield area had some fantastic players then. We had Chris Mansfield, who played at New Mexico at Glenwood, and Chad was there at Rochester. Sacred Heart Griffin had Peter Christopherlakis, who ended up being a kicker at Illinois, and just a loaded time for the Springfield area back in the mid-'90s for soccer. And Springfield High was always a team that came out of the sectional and would advance on towards state out of that grouping as well. So it was a fun time to play soccer in the Springfield area, and Chad having a lot of success now coaching his alma mater at Rochester.
Yeah, it's crazy. At Springfield, and obviously St. Louis is just an outstanding area for soccer as well, both at the college level but also the high school level, and people have stayed close to that area. And then down south Illinois, Rochester is sending a bunch of these players to colleges next year, a lot of those schools in that area as well.
Cutting back in, Justice leaves it for Smith. Shot is off the crossbar. That was the combination yesterday. Justice found Smith for both goals, and she rattled the crossbar with that strike.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Easton and how good she's been. She had no chance there. She just had to say a prayer, cross her fingers that one didn't go in.
But take a look at it again as Josta said it perfectly for Smith.
Yeah, and that was just a great touch, a great shot by Smith. And Smith obviously playing extremely well with the 2 goals yesterday. I thought that one was ticketed for the back of the net.
Justice with 29 goals, now 17 assists after the 2 yesterday. Williams with 28 goals and 14 assists, and Smith scored goals 14 and 15. You mentioned in the open all the double-digit scores they have. Here's another ball for Smith that's knocked back. Deflected away, and Easton will come pick it up. She's been fantastic. It's her 30th game, 14 goals allowed. She came into the finals with half a goal allowed per game and got another shutout. Her 18th of the year, 28th career shutout. And how about this, Brian? She's faced penalty kicks 14 times this year. She saved 8 of them.
I think that's the most remarkable stat out of all of them, and she's got quite a few of them between the 18 shutouts and allowing just about 1 goal every 2 games, but over 50% save percentage against PK at a decent sample size of 14. That's just extremely impressive.
We saw the official there as they will set it up. Our head official, John Jacobs, Mario Castillo, and Chad Clift are the linesmen. John Washoe is the 4th official over on the sideline. For this state championship game, Rochester won the 1A title last year, 6-1 over Chicago Latin. Deerfield on the break now as they head back towards the middle, getting it over and getting around. Shot on goal, save. Shot for Margot Sylvan, who has 12 goals on the year. The senior also with 9 assists, and Gleason did not have to move much on that one.
Yeah, great footwork to get it open. Look, I had a lot on it right at Gleason, and we've talked a lot about Eason, and justifiably so, but Maddie Gleason's been outstanding, and the other goal this year for Rochester, allowing just 15 goals so far this year. So it's fun to see the dynamic and how talented these 2 keepers are.
We can get another look as Sylvan went around a defender and had the shot, but hit it right at Gleason. Gleason's one of their Division I signees. They have 2 as seniors. She's going to Southeast Missouri State. And then Becca Justice, who we've talked about quite a bit in the open and throughout here, is headed to SIU Edwardsville for the matchup. And they also have 4 D2 signees. They break through here, does Deerfield. They've got some college players of their own on their roster, and this one knocked down in the 18 and sent back out of play. On the sideline, trying to split through a double team. Down the sidelines, right into the middle now for Rochester, sending it forward for Garland, but able to come out will be Sari Eason. There's 7 seniors on the Deerfield roster. None have yet signed to play on in college. Junior Mariel Haas has got some Division III recruiting, and it was her goal with 19:03 to go that beat Wheaton St. Francis yesterday in the semis. Allie Milnes sends it forward. Knocked back, but Rochester keeps it. Sending a through ball, but Williams and Garland could not link there. And that's where Rochester was really dangerous yesterday, when Sycamore would clear the ball out of the 18, but they didn't get it past that next line of Rochester attackers, and they would just send it right back in, and boom, just like that, it was a shot on goal.
Yeah, dominating the time of possession. I'm assuming it's been greatly in their favor throughout the course of the season. And it's when you linger around there long enough, you're going to get some chances.
Milnes puts it in, and Eason is there for it. They've allowed 4 goals in the postseason, 2 to Chatham Glenwood right at the end of the year, and then they beat Jerseyville, Glenwood, Waterloo, Troy Triad, and Normal West to get here. Deerfield beat North Chicago, St. Viator, Prairie Ridge, Lake Forest, and then Chicago Latin, who, much like Rochester, moved up from 1A to 2A this year. In fact, 3 of the 4 teams that made it to state last year at 1A bumped up to 2A this season. The only one that didn't was St. Thomas More, and ball in again for Eason. Latin, Rochester, and Rock Island Allman all moved up, and they all made it to at least the sectional. Allman lost to Geneseo in 2A. in the sectional, and then Chicago Latin lost in the Super, and here's Rochester. So all three that moved up from 1A last year had success again this season. That tells you a lot about their program.
Yeah, haven't skipped a beat. Sometimes you'll hear just the generalization or assumption that the 1A schools might not be as good, or just because they're not as big as the 2 or 3A, and Rochester clearly proving that theory incorrect with how they've just marched on with their outstanding season. And you look at the enrollments, more than double for Deerfield, right around 1,600, under 800 for Rochester as far as enrollment at their schools is concerned. So a pretty big disparity between the two schools from that regards, and Rochester's just been outstanding since their move up to 2A this year.
Obviously, you want to play in the lowest class possible to get success, but if you ask Coach Kuchar, he'll tell you it doesn't matter because they play 2A teams all season long. Yep. Being in the Central State 8, playing all the Springfield schools, Chatham, Glenwood, Jacksonville, the schools out of Decatur. Sacred Heart Griffin was 1A, but obviously a powerhouse as well in most sports, and girls soccer in there as well. But playing the Springfield public schools, playing teams out of Belleville, Metamora, those areas, they're playing 2A teams all season long anyway, so might as well stay in 2A when the playoffs start, and they've had no problem with it this year. Ball taken away by Deerfield. They played a fantastic schedule this year. Lost to Nazareth Academy, Oak Park, River Forest, Gurney Warren, and Normal West. They lost to Warren twice, but played a very tough schedule. They were in the PepsiCo Showdown, which is just the best of the best here in the Chicago area. They also played in the Glenbrook Cup. Saw a lot of talent. Rochester goes south. They play in the Metro Cup to get started. Belleville East, Waterloo, Troy Triad, and a Central State 8 foe in Springfield, and then in the Sacred Heart Griffin Invite, which is where they took a loss, 1-0 to St. Joseph's Academy out of St. Louis. They lost to Edwardsville, a 3A team, 3-2. Those are the two setbacks for the Rockets this year. Last year they won 25 games, 25-3 to win 1A. They won't get more wins, but 25-2-1, technically better than 25-3, and that's what they would be with a victory today.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's just a testament. You talked about the schedule and the teams they've played at schools that are probably a little bit larger than them, and it just hasn't mattered at all. And Deerfield certainly tested themselves throughout the course of the season, too. You mentioned some of the opponents that they had to play and the showdown that they were a part of, and it certainly has helped them as they've gotten deeper on in this state tournament when they've played that caliber of competition.
3 subs in for Deerfield. Lizzie Kepler, a junior forward. Julia Harlan, a junior midfielder. And Samantha Lynn, a sophomore forward, are all in. On the first subs of the day for Coach Grady and his squad, and the best record that Deerfield has had in Coach Grady's longtime tenure with the Deerfield Warriors. 07 was his first year, 7-11-3, and they've obviously built that up, and now 22 wins, looking for a 23rd. They'll take home the first trophy in girls soccer in school history. And for the first 15 minutes, we're scoreless here at North Central College. They have won 5 straight CSL North titles, 4 regionals in the last 5 years as well. Assistant coach Ryan Crane graduated from Deerfield in 08. He won a couple regional titles on the boys' side. Their other coach, Bill Stafford, all-stater in Iowa and played at the University of Iowa as well. So a lot of experience on that sideline on both teams. On the Rochester side, mentioned Coach Kuchar playing at McKendree. Brent Stuckey played at Ozark Christian College. Megan DeBar at Wheaton Academy, winning a state title, which sounds familiar from last week.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of reoccurring themes, huh, that we've had.
Out of bounds, down the sideline. Throw-in coming up for the Warriors. Sent in by Lynn, who just checked in, and headed away by Rochester for the time being. And Lynn battling for it on the sideline, but won't get there. Throw in, and we get our first sub for the Rockets. They bring in a pair. Katie Cochran was in quite a bit yesterday, the sophomore forward. Emma Hughes, who you just saw there, 23, the junior. On defense, Maddie Gleason and Mason Garland and Maddie Capps both heading out. Not Maddie Gleason, she's the goalie. She's not going anywhere.
And things are starting to slow down over the last few minutes. We had an early chance for both teams early on with Smith hitting the crossbar and then Gleason coming through with a save on the other end. A lot in the middle third over the last few minutes. Neither team can really gather any sort of momentum.
Gabby Lazar winning the throw-in. And she looked around to see if anybody else was going to come over and throw it in. She'll do the honors, and it's knocked right back out of bounds. Another throw-in for the Warriors. As the rain continues to come down here at North Central College. Rained really hard during the first half of the third place game. Then it stopped for about an hour and a half. We didn't have any rain at all in the last 10 minutes or so of the first half, or the entire second half, as Sycamore scored a pair of goals on corners to take third place 2-1 over St. Francis. And then for the first 10 or 15 minutes between games, as they got their awards and trophies, it didn't rain, and then all of a sudden, since we were down on the track, downpour.
You can blame us. Good thing we're not on camera right now, because we do not look good. Not that we did before, but certainly not right now.
We brought the rain, and it's continued on. Most of the fans in the crowd, they came well prepared with the umbrellas and also the parkas.
I'm a dad now.
A lot of jackets, and really as you see the ponchos, the umbrellas, and a couple Brave fans just wearing the T-shirts. They're just trying to be tough, right?
Yeah, respect.
High school kids, you got to be tough.
A lot tougher than us.
A lot more jackets than you'd expect in a crowd for an early June game in the Chicago area, right?
I think we used all of our good weather karma up last week for the 1A game. It was perfect out, and we talked about that. So I guess it could be a lot worse. It could be storming a little bit, and it could be a little bit cooler. But yeah, you wouldn't expect early June to see so many sweatshirts and jackets and things of that nature.
Rochester trying to get it going. Since they hit the crossbar, really haven't had it in the attacking third much. Credit to Deerfield. They're winning the battle in the midfield right now.
Yeah, that was huge for Deerfield, is that they were somehow able to escape that period of time without giving up that goal. Lucky that it hit the crossbar. And ever since, they've been much better. Like you said, in midfield play, have really slowed down Rochester, haven't given them a ton of opportunities. And like we said, it's just slowed down in general the pace of this game, and we've seen a lot more in the middle third.
Headed away down the middle of the field. Trying to win possession, but it's just a little bit back and forth. Smith heading it on, but Williams can't get there, and back again. Throw in for the Rockets. Deerfield down the sideline and out of bounds. A couple minutes straight of throw-ins and kicking down the field. We'll see who can settle, string some passes together.
Yeah, Rochester very crisp with their passing early on and found some lanes, tried a couple of through balls that they got through, and ever since Smith had that opportunity, it's just been Deerfield sticking to him like glue, to use the old adage. They just haven't given him much lane for an opportunity, and same goes with the other way.
Hughes won a header, and now Deerfield on the break, going the other way against Rochester. Down the sidelines is Horgan, but then she loses possession. Smith, and nobody home down the sideline, so Deerfield can clear it out of their half. Rochester can't get possession in the midfield. Cochran lost it, comes back and commits a foul. Cochran lost possession and came back and went at Samantha Lynn.
Get one more look at it. I think the crowd wanted a whistle, but that was a good no call. Looked just like a tripped at midfield. That was a good call. I was just thinking to myself, too, that it's been a really clean game so far. I haven't had the whistle really blown at all. So we'll see if Deerfield can take advantage.
Here's Haas. She scored on a free kick in the semis, puts it on goal, and Gleason couldn't corral it. It bounced on the turf, skipped up. She knocked it out in a corner coming. And Morel Haas with 19 minutes to go yesterday. As we get another look at this, and Brian, watch how this just skips on the wet turf.
Yeah, this is tough. It's a very difficult hop to read. And Gleason was sliding to her right to try to get in front of it, but clearly the ball just kind of skipped off and wasn't able to make the clean save.
Corner kick in, headed over the crossbar, and then it hit the football upright. That's something we've noticed throughout last weekend and this weekend here. The crossbars right on top of each other.
That is a great corner and a great header. Just a little too much air underneath. But Deerfield trying to seize a little bit of momentum. That actually hit both crossbars. It pinballed around there.
Off the head of Shea Feldman. And if it bounces back in off the football upright crossbar, it's automatically out of bounds. So it'll bounce back in, and it led to a little bit of confusion in one of the semifinals here last weekend in 1A. Because obviously if it hits off the soccer crossbar, you can knock it right back in, but it hits that football, and there's a foot or so of separation between the two here at North Central. And so our first foul almost resulted in our first goal as the corner came off with a foul free kick. We've seen a lot of goals off of set pieces here this weekend. Now Rochester breaking. Smith's on the right of Williams. She'll get it into the box. Sends it in and knocked out of bounds. This will go for a corner the other way. Rochester scored in the run of play in the semis. We'll get another look here as Williams sends it perfectly for Bailey Smith.
Yeah, and Bailey Smith has found herself in a very enviable position a couple of different times in this first half. And fortunately for the Warriors, they're able to get a deflection, but not out of the woods yet as Rochester gets their first opportunity from the corner.
Rochester sent Smith over as if they were going to go short corner, and Deerfield sent two defenders out. Now the corner swings in front of the goal, headed into the back of the net. We've got our first goal. Almost a goal at the other end. Deerfield couldn't capitalize. Rochester does, and they mob Katie Cochran, all of 5'3", but it was her head alone on the back post that gives Rochester the 1-0 lead with 16 and change to play here in the first half.
Yeah, and Cochran set up perfectly, but let's not talk about Milne's and how great this corner is. Perfectly placed on the weak side post. And just a brilliant play by Cochran to duck low underneath, get some air underneath that, and split the back of the net.
Her second goal of the season, and Rochester leads Deerfield 1-0, and Deerfield kicks it out of bounds. Cochran 5'3". And she even leaned down a little lower on that, Brian, as the ball was headed to the back post. She leaned down even further, and there was not a defender in sight. Wide open at the back post is an understatement there, and Cochran's second goal of the year. And then off the bench, here comes Rochester again. Williams with three defenders somehow gets away with the ball, and how things changed in a minute. It was Cochran's foul on Samantha Lynn that set up Deerfield for the free kick, then the corner kick as they hit a crossbar. And then she comes down at the other end and scores a goal that puts them on top.
Yeah, and the action has gone in spurts in this game. Early on, we had a ball off the crossbar, off the foot of Smith, and then Gleason comes in with a save just a couple of minutes later on the other end. We had somewhat of a lull where neither team could get any sort of traction, and then they had a great opportunity for a corner for Deerfield where they hit the crossbar, and then just a minute later, here comes Rochester the other way, and they can convert on the corner and take the 1-0 lead.
Rochester with the 1-0 lead, and we've got a push and a free kick coming up. And Brian, let's get another look. Look how open Katie Cochran is at the far post, left side, wide open. Nobody at that back post at all. Nobody guarding the post for Deerfield, and they give up a goal on a set piece.
Yeah, the Warriors had a couple towards the middle, couple defenders toward the middle that jumped up and just missed getting a deflection and a piece on that corner kick, but it did sail over their heads just enough and left Cochran wide open on that weak side post.
They scored off of a set piece in the semi, give up a goal on one here in the final. And 14 minutes, now the key part for Deerfield. Rochester can come at you in waves. They've got to withstand the next few minutes and not let one goal become 2 goals and have it snowball. That's what happened last year. Rochester got the lead, and all of a sudden, boom, they got 4 on the board and had a 6-1 lead against Chicago Latin.
Yeah, and we'll see. And they've been able to score in bunches throughout the course of the year. And then last year, as you mentioned, the dominant performance in the state title game, and a lot of firepower, and just the 15th goal that Deerfield's allowed all season long. So let's see how they adjust to a little bit of adversity. They're not used to necessarily being down throughout the course of the season, especially in the first half, with how good that defense and that back line has been. But you know, it's a state championship game. You're going against great competition. Let's see how they respond.
Rochester sideline making a couple substitutions for Deerfield. I'm sure one of the things that they'll talk about, they've given up goals in the postseason, and they've been able to grab wins anyway. They beat Prairie Ridge 3-2 in the sectional semis. They beat Lake Forest 3-1 in the sectional final, and Chicago Latin scored against them in the supers, and they won 2-1. So they don't have to get a shutout to win.
Yep.
They're able to score goals and get things going. They put 7 on the board in the first regional. They had a nice stretch in April where they scored 4, 4, 7. 2-2 and back-to-back, and you can see, Brian, now also how much harder it's raining than it was just 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's visible. I mean, you can obviously see it on your screen here, and that's how it's been throughout the course of the afternoon, where it just comes to a dead halt, and we think, oh, maybe we're going to be okay for a little bit, and then you see what's going on right now. So it's really, really coming down out there, and I think the crowd's getting a little wet, and probably a little jealous of us sitting inside the booth.
Margot Sylvan had the ball taken away by Smith, and Rochester pushes forward. Amanda Williams gets fouled. Amanda Williams has been at the center of just about everything that's worked well for Rochester today, and the umbrella salesman having a good day today here at North Central.
Yeah,
a lot of golf umbrellas in that group. So I think a lot of the parents might be on the golf course next Saturday when their girls are done playing soccer.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm waiting for the ones on their head too.
Yeah.
So waiting to see some of those as well.
Ball sent into the box, headed on, and right at Eason, who didn't have to move on this one. Eason, who had no chance at all on the goal by Rochester, has been up to the task for the others, and we've got a stoppage here because we have an injured player down right inside the 6 for Rochester. I think that is Bailey Smith.
Obvious pain. Hopefully she's okay. I'd see her go down. They let the play continue for a few seconds, but then the referee blew it dead. And
she's in obvious pain laying down inside the 6 as she was going in to try to get that ball clear. Let's take a look at it. And the save is made, and there the ankle, the ankle twisted as she was in on goal with Eason, and Bailey Smith, who scored 2 goals in the semifinal, being looked at by the trainer right in front of the goal. So Smith, a senior with now 15 goals on the season, 9 assists, having 2 goals in the semifinal matchup in their victory over Sycamore. With Coach Kuchar, their athletic trainer, out there as well. Pete Stoll is the athletic trainer for the Rockets.
Yeah, and this is just a huge bummer. You look at Smith and her contribution. She's just had a fantastic weekend, and it's just a shame to see her. Hopefully she can walk off.
So 1-0 Rochester with the lead. 12:04 to go in the first as they attend to Bailey Smith. We'll take a break and back with the rest of the first half action. Rochester and Deerfield in the Class 2A Girls Soccer Championship on CSN Chicago.
Country Financial wants to know, what if you could own your future?
I mean, I would spend it with family and friends.
Travel more.
Retire.
And make decisions that aren't fear-based about money.
At Country Financial, we take the time to get to know you so we can develop a plan with insurance and financial solutions to help you take charge of where you want to be.
Have that fear removed from my mind.
To help you own your future.
To be in control of your future.
Visit ownyourfuture.com to find a local Country Financial representative today.
Back at North Central College on CSN Chicago, the girls Class 2A state championship, and you see the rain falling. It continues to fall. Rochester had to help Bailey Smith off of the field. She did not put a whole lot of pressure at all on that ankle, helped off by two members of the coaching staff. And that's a big blow for the Rockets offense. For Smith going down and turning that ankle in the goal and fighting for a cross sent in by the Rockets, and they'll win the possession back here in the last 12 minutes of the half.
Yeah, just a huge blow for the Rockets, and you know how well Smith has played, not only in the semifinal game, but even early on in the first half here. Just a bummer for her, though. Obviously a great player, but just waiting all season for an opportunity like this, gets it, and to have the injury to happen in this game, it's just tough break, so hopefully she'll be all right.
There have been a lot of injuries so far here this weekend. Sycamore suffered a couple of big blows against Rochester. Becca Justice had a powerful shot inside the 18 that hit the Sycamore goalie, Amanda Cook, in the face. She left the game and did not play at all in their third place match today. They had another player, Ella Howland, who went down and hit her head on the turf as well in the semi. She did come back and play in today's third place game after missing the rest of the game against Rochester yesterday. And then we had two other injuries in the 3A semifinals yesterday. So it's been a busy weekend for the athletic trainers here at North Central College, and the athletic trainers that come up with the high school teams too, of course. But there have been a fair share of injuries, and unfortunately most of them have involved head injuries here over the weekend, and players that rightfully so have been held out of action so far into the next day.
Yeah, the last people in this entire stadium that we want to have a busy weekend is the trainers, and unfortunately that's been the case. Hopefully that'll be the last one of the day.
Hughes pushes it forward for Rochester, and saved down by Haas, but cannot clear it out of trouble. Williams in the middle of the field has Justice on one wing, and she'll drop it off to Milnes, who had the assist on the goal with the corner kick. Milnes gets it back, sends it through to Garland, but a little too far. Could not get a foot on that. And all the way out the track, and a substitution for Rochester as they bring on number 19, Maddie Capps, who's back in for Emma Hughes.
And Milnes has set up her teammates very, very well, not just today, but all season long. In addition to the corner, that was a great through ball opportunity there for the Rockets. Just a little bit too far ahead, but she's had a great first half.
Throw in on the far sideline for Rochester. The last 9 minutes and change of this first half, and a 1-0 lead for the Rockets. They're looking for more. Pushed in towards Justice. Shot, and a foul on Milnes as she was battling for that volley. As Justice brought it down. Deerfield down the sidelines towards Sylvan. Sylvan gets around a defender. Looking to cross, but Rochester had that covered. It'll trickle out for a throw-in. So Deerfield moving the ball now into the attacking third. Looking to use this last 8 minutes to push forward.
Yeah, and I know they're down 1-0, and we've talked about some games where they really exploded offensively, but they had to be encouraged by some of the chances that they've had. They've had the opportunity. They've hit the crossbar. They had a good shot on net against Gleason earlier on in the first half, too. So certainly some positives to build on for the Warriors, even with a 1-goal deficit.
Williams steals it for Rochester, and moving forward, she's got Garland in front. Two others coming in support. Goes for Garland towards the corner. Garland brings it back to Williams, leaves it for Justice. She's in on goal. Becca Justice will get it in. She scored last year in the state title game. She scores this year in the state title game. One-on-one with the goalie for goal number 30.
And she loves this facility, apparently, with 3 goals now in the last 2 state title games. Great patience by Justice there. Was waiting for the right angle as you get a look at it right here. Just waiting for Easton to come out. Looks up and able to find the smallest of creases to get by the keeper for the Warriors to get it from a 2-0 lead.
She picked her spot, did it perfectly, went low, got the goal. Last year, Bailey Smith had their first goal. Justice got 2 in the second half. She scored goals number 3 and 6 in their 6-1 win. And this year, after having 2 assists in the semi yesterday, she gets the goal here. That one assisted by Amanda Williams, the senior who has 28 goals of her own, now with 15 assists as well. And that's a very dangerous 1-2 punch, and Rochester's got a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, that was just a brilliantly placed pass, just a wide open Justice all the way back there. And Eason did the right thing. She came up trying to cut off the angle because she sit back and net. It would have been a wide open net, really 1-on-0 for Justice. And she did get a deflection on it while sliding towards the ball, just didn't get enough of it.
Erin Rosenwig moving forward and can't get it back to Sylvan for Deerfield. And here come the Rockets again. Williams has Justice to her left, gets it to her, gets around Haas, moving to the middle of the field, sends it through towards Williams, deflected, and now sent out of bounds, and it will be a throw-in for the Rockets. Maddie Schmidt moving up to take the throw. Looking for Williams, deflected away. Williams leaves it back. Justice around her defender. She got in the air, moving in on the 18, leaves it off for Milnes. Left-footed shot for Milnes is high and wide. So Milnes let it fly from outside the 18. She had the assist on that first goal on the corner. Justice went around one defender, tees up Milnes perfectly for a one-touch and a left-footed shot that just curls high and a bit wide. Rockets on the attack again, out wide for Milnes. Sent back to midfield, and they'll regroup. Milnes can't control that one, and they'll win the header. Back for Caps off Cochran, who had the first goal. And Josh just tried to hit it back to her, couldn't. Schmidt pushes it into the box. Dangerous ball. Williams got a foot on it. Eason can't find it. She was tangled up with Williams and then had to dive on top of the ball. Her ankle got caught under Williams, and she finally was able to get loose and punt it free. But that was a ball that was just laying there just outside the 6, in the middle of the box. Cochran pushes it forward. Headed away for Deerfield. Haas got a head on it. They get it forward looking for some attack. It's out wide for Horgan. Horgan one-on-one with Schmidt. Down the sideline, gets around her. The Rochester had reinforcements to clear it up the field. And a substitution for each team coming across for Rochester. Number 5, Ellie Crum is in for the first time, replacing Williams. And for Deerfield, it's number 8, Devin Campisi, who is into the match. Throw in for Rosenwig. Back for Campisi, who just came in, chased by Cochran, and pushes it backwards to Feldman. Booted forward by Lazar. Campisi knocked away. That's Crum, her first touch. And a little too far for Justice. Lazar looking down the sideline, was directing traffic, but couldn't find a teammate. 2-0 for Rochester in the last 3.5 minutes of the first half, and Deerfield breaking through, and an incidental contact on that one. Sent through. They were trying to get it to Erin Rosenwig, and she had a little collision going for the ball with Kelsey Barron. And now a whistle and a foul. And the fouls have been pretty limited here throughout. Free kick for Rochester. Get a nice bounce on the turf and into the box. But forced backwards, Justice leaves it for Milnes. Pushes it right back into the box, but too far for Justice as they played a little 1-2 game there. Nobody went with Becca Justice. But the pass from Milnes was too strong, and a couple of subs in for the Rockets as here's Justice dropped it off right into the middle. As soon as she dropped it off, she took out straight through the box, and too much power for Milnes, could not get to it. Hughes back in for Rochester on that latest sub, and she's in the middle of the defense for the Rockets and has the ball now. Pushed off the ball and foul. #16, Megan McNicholas also in for the first time for the Rockets. Ball towards the box, headed away by Feldman. Brought down by Horgan, and then they turn it upfield, but this will roll across midfield and also out of bounds.
And it's still on, so you should be good. Perfect.
Substitution for the Rockets again. Amanda Williams back in. She's been all over the front line. They'll change up as she comes in for Riley Ross, who is a defender. And they'll move Milnes back into defense, and Williams will go up front. And now on the counter, getting through for the Warriors is Rosenwig towards the box. A collision, a whistle, and a foul, and we've got a stoppage of the clock. And we're going to get a card. Our first of the championship match will be handed out here. So there's the yellow card. And an explanation for the yellow card given to Kelsey Barron. So Barron's got to leave the game. She takes the yellow card for the collision, and Deerfield's in a dangerous spot here as you see the collision just outside the box. Barron and Rosenwig. So Barron gets the yellow card. She checks out. Jamie Riedel is right back in, number 18. So standing over the ball is Haas. She had a goal with 19 minutes to go in the semifinal. That got Deerfield to this game, and it came off a free kick a little bit further back and more outside of the 18, but a similar spot. She'll put this one in on goal, too high. Right through the uprights. The Rochester fans signal field goal in the stands. That one sailed high on Haas, and a goal kick for Rochester in the last 30 seconds of this first half. Gleason boots it through the rain towards midfield and headed down. With it, back towards the box for Deerfield. Rosenwig brings it down, sends it back, pushed forward by Harlan. And that'll bring the first half as this one's sent to the box to a close. Rochester gets a pair of goals, one off a corner kick for the sophomore Katie Cochran, and the second from Becca Justice, her 30th goal of the season as she broke through the box, beat Sarah Eason for goal number 2. So the Rockets take a 2-0 lead into the halftime talks as they got goals from Cochran and then from Justice. We had one yellow card in the first half. It came right there in the last minute of play as Rochester's Kelsey Barron taking the yellow card for a foul on Deerfield's Rosenwig. So Rochester with the 2-0 lead last year in the state title game in 1A against Chicago Latin. They had a 2-1 lead at halftime and then scored 4 goals in the second half to win that match 6-1. Justice had a pair of those goals in the second half. They also got 2 goals from Bailey Smith. Smith went down injured in this one with the ankle injury, and we'll have to see if she's able to come back at all. Rochester's got a 2-0 lead here at halftime against the Deerfield Warriors. And my partner, Brian Beto, has Rochester head coach Chad Kuchar down on the field. Brian?
Thanks, Nate. Coach, obviously you got to be pretty happy with your team's first half performance. You get a nice goal off a beautiful corner, and then setting up Justice for the second goal. How would you evaluate your team's play in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we moved the ball well at times. I think there's some things we need to adjust. They're defending pretty well. They're also getting a couple looks there late in the half. They got a couple looks on us, and we need to make sure we're closing that down. I mean, there's no excuse for letting some of that stuff go. But yeah, I mean, I'd much rather be up 2-0 than chasing 2-0.
What do you change, if anything, then in the second half?
Well, I mean, tactically we may look to how we attack their defense is going to be a little different, because I don't think we've had a lot of success with attacking their defense. I think we've been efficient with our chances, so I'm happy about that. But I think we could probably get some more looks if we start looking to go a different route.
Coach, appreciate the time. Good luck in the second half.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, guys.
2-0 the score. Keep it here. First half highlights coming up next. You're watching the IHSA 2A Girls Soccer State Championship on Comcast Sportsnet.
The IHSA is competition, teamwork, integrity, determination, triumph. The future plays here. The Illinois High School Association.
Welcome back to North Central College. It's halftime as the Rochester Rockets lead the Deerfield Warriors 2-0 in the IHSA Girls Class 2A Championship on CSN Chicago. Let's take a look at those first half highlights as we see a nice save by Sarah Eason, using the left hand to get that away from Justice. Amanda Williams feeds it through to Bailey Smith, but her cross is knocked out of bounds for a corner. Deerfield got a couple of nice plays in a row, and then it was Smith who hit the crossbar, trying to put Rochester on top. Game got a little chippy in the middle of the first half, and then Smith left with an injury. Milnes with the cross on a corner, headed in by Katie Cochran, the sophomore, giving Rochester a 1-0 lead, completely wide open at the back post. Her second goal of the year puts Rochester up 1-0. Then the Rockets got the ball to their goal-scoring leader, as Garland finds it through to Williams, gets the assist as Becca Justice does the rest, and a 2-0 lead for halftime as she gets goal number 30 on the campaign. She scored in the state title game last year. Now she scored in the state title game this season as well. Rochester is one half away from repeating as state champions despite being bumped up a class here in 2016. Rockets 2, Warriors 0 at halftime. Back with the start of the second half action after this on CSN Chicago.
Country Financial wants to know, what do you look for in a financial partner?
Somebody that has the same values as I do. An honest person, a person of integrity.
Who could kind of lay out a step-by-step, baby step plan.
Everyone can use a little financial guidance, and at Country Financial, we'll work with you to understand your needs and goals to help you own your future.
You can't plan a future with someone you can't trust.
Visit ownyourfuture.com to find a local Country Financial representative today.
We're ready to start the second half of the IHSA Girls Class 2A Championship. Rockets of Rochester on top of the Deerfield Warriors 2-0, and Rochester will kick off to start the second half as they look for back-to-back state titles, albeit in two different classes. Won it in 1A last year over Chicago Latin, and now lead over Deerfield here in the 2A final. As we start the second half, we'll see what adjustments Deerfield will make as they look to find a way to attack this Rochester defense. You heard from Rochester coach Chad Kuchar telling Brian that they would look for a different way to attack as well, because so far they'd only gotten things in off of set pieces and need to find a way to attack off the flow of play. So we'll see. There's 10 minutes spent on the sidelines. Who makes the better adjustments for this second half? See if Deerfield can find a goal to get back in this one. Rochester down the sideline. Williams has been a big part of their attack so far today. Keeps it in bounds, gets it back to Justice, who has a goal. Sent forward by Rochester, but this one will be easy for Easton. Easton sends it back across midfield. Rochester, the 2-0 lead, and Deerfield trying to figure out a way to get things going on offense and to get a goal to get back into this one. Rochester gives up the throw in, and Deerfield are ready to go.
Yeah, and even though, Nate, that Deerfield's down a couple of goals here, not in a great position, obviously, with a half to go. However, they have to be a little encouraged with some of the positives in the first half, some of the scoring chances that they had. They just got to convert them here in the second half. And you heard even at halftime, Rochester talk about, they've given up some opportunities to the Warriors, so let's see if they can capitalize this time around.
Justice to Williams, and that's a save by Eason, but she can't save it and hold on to it, and then it came back for another chance for Justice and a collision in the box. So Rochester with the first good chance of the second half. Justice teed up Williams, who hits it right on Eason and then almost spilled it for another Justice goal.
It's just great touch passing, and look at the ball just with the spin all the way back out and a collision in the box. And that's what's going to happen today with the elements, is there's going to be rebound opportunities. It's tough just to corral the ball with how wet it is. So it's a situation where you just can't give up on the play. Neither team did in that spot, and fortunately for Deerfield, it's still 2-0.
Eason landing right at the feet of Justice and kind of took her out.
Yeah.
Fortunately, both okay and able to pop up. And here we've got a play on, says the official. And on the right side, moving forward for the Warriors, Chloe Kappas pushing it into the box. And Rochester able to clear it through Riley Ross. Milnes is back for Rochester in defense. She'll clear it out of the box this time and over the head of Cochran. So they started a different 11 to start the second half than they had to start the game. Of course, they had to make one change with Bailey Smith going down with the ankle injury. This one sent through and a go wide, but goal kick coming up for Rochester. Gleason was tested a couple of times early on, had one ball take a weird hop on her and a bounce to the side that resulted in a corner kick, but then she was able to take care of the corner, had the other point-blank save from the Deerfield attack as well.
Yeah, she's been put to work at times throughout the course of the afternoon, that being the biggest one where the ball just took a really wicked hop on her that resulted in the corner, and that corner resulted in a ball being placed off the crossbar. So Deerfield, again, they've had their opportunities at times. It's just it hasn't come up yet and haven't quite found the back of the net yet.
Williams gets the ball, then threw a shoulder in there as well. Spinning away is Allie Crum. Cochran gets a foot on it, and it'll roll towards the sideline and out of bounds. And it'll be a throw-in for Deerfield. Crum, the other player, in addition to Cochran, starting the second half that did not start the game. Now it'll go the other way. Long throw for Riedel. Step back towards midfield. Rosenwig is cut down. That'll be a free kick.
Like what the Rockets are doing, really being the aggressor early on here in the second half. Sometimes, up 2-0, you want to get a little bit complacent and play more of a prevent sort of thing. I know it's still early enough, but they certainly haven't fallen into that trap, and they're really pushing forward. They've already had a couple of chances to make it 3-0.
Cochran sends it over towards Justice, a little too far though, and Deerfield gets it momentarily. Then Justice wins it and shields the defender away from the ball to pass it backwards. Now her and Williams set up, and they'll get it way out wide for Garland. Williams in the middle. Crum on the other side. It goes to Williams and didn't get enough on it, looking to send a through ball to Cochran. But Justice recovers again. They keep it in the attacking third. A whistle and a foul. That's on Crum, who was shielding off. Early in the match, Brian, it was Deerfield who was winning all the balls in the midfield and moving forward. Now it's Rochester. Every 50-50 ball seems to be controlled by somebody wearing orange and black.
You're 100% correct, and we commented on that in the first half, especially towards the middle portion of that first half. Everything going Deerfield's way. They were winning every ball in the midfield, and the tide has just completely turned here, at least so far in the second half.
Down the sideline for Deerfield now is gets knocked back by Riley Ross off of Justice and out of bounds. Spinning Rosenwig, and that is high and wide on the shot attempt. So didn't trouble Gleason there, and the trouble is trying to get her a ball now because the ball boy on the far side, his throw sailed and went over the goal as well. So there's now two balls behind the goal because the first throw from the ball boy went past Gleason over the goal, and she finally got one from the other side.
Behind the track.
Yeah.
That encompasses the field.
So Gleason to Justice, and Rosenwig will head it back for Deerfield. They work it into the middle of the field, poked away nicely by Rochester. They try to get it on the far left side. That's off for Rochester, out of bounds. Last touch by Maddie Schmidt. In substitutions, 7 subs for Deerfield.
Yeah, they're going for some fresh legs, and you don't see this very often, but clearly Coach Grady trying to switch some things up, get some different looks, and maybe confuse Rochester, go with a different style of play, and wanted a spark maybe from the bench, and let's see what happens.
It ended up being 8. Another one ran on late. It's easier to tell you who stayed on the field for Deerfield. It's number 7, Annie Sloan. Their goalie stayed as well, and then their other center back, as here's the ball knocked away out of bounds. Sloan's going to run up to take this kick. It was Sloan, number 7, Julia Harlan, number 16, and the goalie. Everybody else left the field for Deerfield.
I'm ready for us to call us down to the field at this point. He's emptying the bench. We got to be ready to go at this rate, and we'll see what happens. They got a chance here.
Into the middle of the box, cleared out by Rochester and sent all the way back to midfield. Now Deerfield sends it back. On the sideline, knocked out of bounds by Maddie Schmidt, and Deerfield pushing forward.
Yeah, it's been on this side of the field, deep in Rochester territory over the last couple of minutes. The Rockets did just a magnificent job clearing that last corner. It's not out of the woods yet.
Another corner coming. That ball was over the end line. The linesman called it from the other end of the field. He's on the line doing his job. He can look straight down that line past the goal and saw that ball go out of bounds where the main official couldn't possibly see it from that angle. So the linesman gets the job done and done well. And here comes the corner from Sloan, right into the middle. Not cleared. Rochester chasing it. Finally out of the box. Deerfield will send it back in. Sophie Gray got it back to Harlan, and now pushed in by Campisi, and this will roll out for a goal kick. And a couple dangerous moments here as Deerfield put the ball right in the middle of the box off of that second corner from Annie Sloan.
That couldn't have been placed any more perfectly. It cleared. Somehow nobody got a foot on it immediately.
Milnes is the one that cleared it.
Yeah, and then Milnes just in front of the Deerfield offense, able to clear that one. That was as dangerous as it gets for Rochester.
That ball hit the turf right in front of the goal, and Milnes just stuck a leg out and sent it back about 6 or 7 yards. And then Rochester was able to push forward. So Milnes, who had the assist on the first goal, on a corner kick of her own. So I guess she knows how to defend them, so she sends them in so well.
Man, she's been outstanding. She knew exactly where that one was going, and she was the only one able to get there after it somehow was able to hit the turf. Two just huge clears by Rochester over the last couple of minutes.
Rockets with the ball now, moving forward. He could not get that one to Riley Ross, who's pushed forward for the Rockets, and now sent back for Deerfield. Schmidt towards the sideline and able to save it, but pushed it just further downfield out of bounds. It was going to go out about the 25 of the football field, and instead the throw-in's about the 40, so saved 15 yards by reaching that ball down the sideline. That's about it. Now it's Deerfield controlling a few touch passes. Justice looking to turn and does. Pass Williams. Garland gives chase. And the ball is going to drop to her. They had trouble clearing it. Williams can't run onto that one. Deerfield towards the sideline through McKenna Crockford. Now back to Williams. She's got one more pass. Nope, she goes around a defender. Left-footed shot deflected. Comes through towards Crum, but she was offside. Williams had her on the left side with no defender there at first, but when she cut it into the middle, looked like she had a wide-open shot, and they just got enough to deflect it, as you see Garland sending it in.
Yeah, and you said it. She cuts it right there, gets an open look, or at least it looked to be an open lane. A good deflection by this Deerfield back line. Otherwise, that would have been prime pickings for the Rockets.
Here they come again. Justice was weaving her way through and then commits a foul at the end of that after sending the pass Williams' way. She ran over McKenna Crockford and called for the foul. We see Justice between a couple defenders here, and then after she lost it, gave an extended push and kind of threw that forearm like a power forward, right?
Yeah, they bumped the cutter in that spot. But they let a lot go here in this game, let them really play, but not going to be the case there.
Hughes on it for Rochester, and then it goes to Deerfield. They turn it upfield. Schmidt to Williams. Knocked out of bounds by Deerfield, and a Rochester throw-in, and here comes 6 more subs for Deerfield. So see if Coach Grady delivered a message to the players he took off the field in a hockey line style substitution, and now he puts, for the most part, those same players right back in, including his goal scorer from the semifinal. You see right there, number 4, Haas. They also got Laser back in and also moving some players around now. They've got to push forward to find 2 goals in the last 25 minutes, and Gabby Laser, who's been playing in the back, is now up front. She's standing at midfield as one of the forwards. She'd been playing defense in the first half and also in the semifinals, and Rosenwig, who's been playing up front, moves back. This one will trickle out of bounds and is going to go as a goal kick for Deerfield.
Yeah, you got to commend Coach Grady for making some changes, switching some things up. I think he recognized that the status quo wasn't going to be good enough to come back from 2 goals down. So the bench did provide a spark. They played well. They had a couple of chances, a couple of corners, and hopefully those players that originally that were subbed out that are now back in, maybe switching up some positions can keep that momentum going.
Won a sectional for the first time in school history. The school's first 20-win season as well for Deerfield, and now they're on the attack. Dropped off in the middle. Shot is off the crossbar. They hit a second crossbar in this match. It drops back down again for Kappas. They're off the woodwork, and now on a counterattack, here comes Rochester with a 2-goal lead. Williams sends it through to Garland, and she won't be able to get that one. Wow, we were inches away from having a game-on type situation as Sylvan made a great move. Boom.
That's a good shot. They whiffed originally, and that actually worked in the Warriors' favor, setting up a good look in the middle of the box and struck it well, just a little too high. Second time Deerfield's hit the crossbar. It's the second time that specific crossbar's been hit on a blast, with Rochester doing it in the first half.
Sylvan, a senior with 12 goals, 9 assists. Here's Rochester again to Williams in the middle of the 18, and that's in the net. Found just enough space, got a great feed from Mason Garland, and just a minute ago, we were a crossbar away from having a 2-1 game, and now Rochester's got a 3-goal lead. Amanda Williams, goal number 29, and for Garland, it's assist number 13.
Yeah, and here's a look at the goal, and they had all sorts of options in the box, and perfectly placed. Really not much of a shot for Eason, and credit the response by the Rockets after not allowing their lead to be cut in half. They come right back down and score, making a 3-0 lead. And if you're Deerfield, you have to think that was somewhat deflating that they didn't get that goal, maybe back on their heels a little bit, and just like that, they're down 3.
What a great first touch by Williams on that pass from Garland. Just set herself up perfectly with the right-footed shot. And I don't know, they might want to take that crossbar at the other end home with them if they take this state title, because that crossbar saved them twice, and both times they've gone down and turned the tables. Deerfield twice has had chances where they've hit a crossbar and thought that they could have goals, and Rochester has scored to respond, and now Deerfield, in desperation mode, is going to throw everything forward they possibly can. And they get it out wide. Now they've got 23 minutes to score 3 times. Into the box and headed away. Here's Rosenwig. Her pass too far, and Rochester will clear it. How many times has Rochester allowed 3 goals in a game this season? The answer is once. Lost to Edwardsville 5-4. On May 4th, 3-2. That's the only time this year they've allowed more than 2. Now they lead 3-0, and they'd have to give up 3 here, as we've got a foul and we've got a yellow card as well. And that's going to go on number 14, Riley Ross. So she goes into the book and has to leave the match with 22:40 to go. So Ross is out on that yellow card.
And there's the
we take a look.
Play, and you got a little look at the yank right there.
And then she just ran her over and hip checked her.
Right call in that scenario.
Sent into the box for Deerfield and headed away. Garland and Williams breaking, but they can't get it past the front line. Deerfield down 3-0. It's the first time all season they've allowed 3 goals. We got a whistle here. An offside against, you see the official right there on the 15-yard line of the football field with the offside. They'd allowed 2 goals in 5 matches this year, but had not allowed 3 at all, and then they do in the state title game.
Yeah, it's a testament to both how good Deerfield's been with their goalkeeping, their defense all season long, but also a credit to how good Rochester's offense is and how quickly they get on you and take advantage of, I don't want to say mistakes by Deerfield, but near misses by Deerfield with the crossbar situation. A couple of times they got 2 goals virtually right after nearly giving up goals. So Rochester really able to take advantage of some of those situations, and they've been outstanding offensively.
Justice crosses it. And Rochester moving forward again. Crum through a shoulder, got the ball. Now Williams turns to face, gives it to Justice. Touches it back for Crum. Williams again. Right side for Garland. With the defender on her back. Williams now into the corner for Garland. Justice, Crum, and Cochran are in the box. Garland crosses back towards the side, and her cross deflected. Good defense in the corner.
Unreal.
Garland still comes through with it to Williams. That's in as well. Same combination as goal 3 for goal 4. And that was Garland in the corner doing all the work. She just kept cutting it back and forth till she finally found somebody break open and gets it to Williams. There's one cross attempt and then just dribbles around. Boom, Williams, goal.
I have no idea how she found a crease to get around those defenders. I thought most certainly that this was going to result in a goal or a corner kick, but somehow able to escape the defenders and just knew exactly where Williams was going to be.
She had the first step. She anticipated that
Perfectly.
play before the Deerfield defender and moved right into the middle. That was a great view from that back camera.
Yeah, that was
to
perfect.
see that play develop and where Williams was moving and how she got there. She has 2. She now has 30, so she's matched Justice on the season. Both have scored today, and now both have 30 on the season, and it's 4-0 for Rochester.
Yeah, and we've talked about earlier in the game not giving up on plays, especially with the conditions, and that's exactly what happened there. Like you said, Williams just anticipated that Garland was going to somehow escape it and was going to be ready in case she did, and found herself perfectly placed right up the middle for that 4th goal.
The Rockets looking for back-to-back titles, but in different classes. 1A last year, 2A this year.
Just put them in 3A next year, right? This rate?
We'll see them against New Trier or Collinsville. That'll be the 3A state title. New Trier is looking for 3 straight. If you're curious, and I was earlier today, the record's 5, St. Charles. 96 through 2000.
Yeah,
there was only one class then.
Yep.
It didn't go to 2A until 2002. It went to 3A as more schools started playing girls soccer in 2009. But from 1988 to 2001, it was just one class, everybody in the state playing at the same level for girls soccer, and St. Charles won 8 of those titles when it was just one class from 98 to 2001. They won 8. Libertyville won a couple. Palatine won 2, Naperville North 1, and Libertyville 1, but St. Charles dominated that stretch.
So dominant they had to break up the schools, right?
That's right. 2 different coaches with Tim Daly and Joe Moreau. And they didn't lose a state title game either. Didn't lose a state title game until 04 when it was St. Charles North, and that's what we're talking about with the split.
That's impressive. You're not even talking about the same group of girls. You're talking about classes upon classes of different girls, and just what a program. And New Trier coming up in the 3A game. Say nearly the same thing about them, just what they've been able to do recently.
They'll be looking for 3 in a row, and they're 5th as they went back-to-back not back-to-back, they went 04 and 06, so they had 1 year in between their first 2 titles under Coach Jim Burnside. 03, 04, and 06, and then the last 2, that's his 5, looking for his 6th. Rochester's looking to add on here for their 3rd. Coach Kuchar won it in 2008. They won it last year in 1A, and they lead in 2A. 4-0 Rochester on CSN Chicago.
The IHSA is sportsmanship, competition, pageantry, strength, respect. The future plays here. The Illinois High School Association.
Welcome back to North Central College. Nathan Believa and Brian Beto with you. The Rochester Rockets lead the Deerfield Warriors 4-0 in the girls Class 2A soccer championship match. And again, Deerfield with massive subs. They bring in 6 new players. And Mason Garland, who's had an assist on the last 2 goals, both scored by Amanda Williams, kicks it out of bounds. It's one of those games, too, Brian, where when it comes down to picking the player of the game, you've got so many candidates because it's not just one player dominating and scoring all 4 goals. It's different players assisting, scoring, and doing all the other work. And Coach Kuchar's got to love that he's got a team like that.
I was just thinking about that a couple of minutes ago. I'm like, who's going to be our Country Financial Player of the Game? And we're going to interview after the game because there's just so many options. And you obviously could bring Maddie Gleason to the mix as well. She's made a couple of nice saves, a couple of nice plays too. But it's been distributed so well among this entire roster and lineup for the Rockets Rockets.
I joked about it earlier, but can you interview the crossbar that's made a couple saves for Rochester? They had a big spot in this game at both ends. And
even I couldn't screw that interview up, right?
You see Coach Kuchar there, won the title back with the Rockets in 2008. And, of course, when you think Rochester, we're going to have a goalie switch here first for Deerfield. So we're going to take a look at Sari Eason. Her 30th game of the year. Before today, she'd only allowed 14 goals. She made 136 saves on the season. And she heads out as a senior, and I like that move by Coach Gritty.
Definitely.
Senior goalie. A nice big round of applause despite the way that it's gone on the scoreboard today for Deerfield. And it's 31, Carly Morris, a sophomore, making her third appearance of the game, who's in. I was about to say, when you think Rochester, you think football and what Coach Leonard has done there, winning 5 straight state titles through that stretch. But now it's going to be a third, could be in 16 minutes, 15 and a half minutes, a third title in girls soccer and back-to-back as Deerfield tries to break through, and they'll clear it out. They also went to state in girls basketball, and some of these players were involved in that as well last season in 2015. So it's been a fantastic athletic department down there at Rochester in the Central State 8 in the suburbs of Springfield as this one's hit through and out. And I know our friends in media down in the Springfield area have just loved covering the Rockets in print, TV, radio, because they get a lot of great content when you have so many athletic teams that are that good.
Yeah, we saw our friend Donnie Tillman down in Springfield a little bit before the game, and I'm sure he's loving following this team. He's getting a lot of tape and a lot of footage.
Yeah, and Zach Kirker, who worked with us for the basketball, doing the sideline. I know he's here, too, and getting some work for their stuff. And I got a lot of help doing some research on Rochester. I'm from the Springfield area, so I kind of just dipped into my resources down there to get some research from my resources. And Ryan Mahan of the State Journal-Register helping out and giving a lot of stuff there. And he's been here all weekend, too. And you get teams like that win, you love covering those teams.
Yeah, 100%. And Coach Kuchar talked to us a little bit about the athletes on this team and the multi-sport athletes. And you already referenced that it's not just girls soccer that this athletic program's dominated, and it's been several different sports. Talked about girls basketball a little bit too, so quite a fun program.
He specifically highlighted Megan McNicholas, who we've seen out there as Deerfield gets it into the box. They get a shot, and right at Gleason. But McNicholas, who we've seen today in the defense, number 16, who's been there a few times, plays basketball. Also, and a big part of that team that went to the state in Redbird Arena in Normal, but also a standout for track and cross country for 3 years. And Coach Kuchar saying in the time that he's been with the Rockets, starting in 2008 as a head coach, that she's one of, if not the best athlete that he's ever coached. And that's high praise when you look out here at some of these players that have 30 goals and some of the other ones that he's coached throughout his time. And you got multi-sport athletes on both sides as a couple of subs coming for Rochester. We got to look at all the Rochester players on the sideline who were getting loose. And it's a chance here, Brian, for both of these coaches to get everybody in their bench in when you get a 4-0 game with 12 minutes left. And it's one of those instances where, be it for a minute, for 5 minutes, whatever, but everybody gets a chance to say, I played in the state championship game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we'd love to have a tightly contested battle, one that goes down to the wire, and I'm sure both these teams were too. But that is one of the positives in having a game like this, where it's pretty decided at this point with 12 and a half minutes to go in a 4-goal game. However, yeah, you want to say you had the opportunity to play in the state championship game, and both these coaches appropriately doing the right thing and giving some playing time to some that maybe wouldn't have gotten it if it was a 1-0 game, and really using up the benches and giving everyone a chance to participate.
Rochester's going to do that now. There's a couple players there to sub in. I don't think they were there quite in time. We saw Sarah Hughes on the left earlier. Kylie Tucker was number 10, ready to sub in as well as Deerfield gets the ball in. Into the box. Milnees will clear it out. Back into the box and cleared out again. Milnes, who, as you mentioned earlier, Brian's been all over the place in this match. Cochran got it ahead to Justice. Looking to switch fields and try to get it to Crum. They'll challenge the new keeper in, but that one not much trouble at all as it rolls right up to Carly Morris.
Nate, we talked a lot about Rochester and their experience and how, they've set a precedent almost to be in Naperville every year and on their way to back-to-back state championships. And Deerfield hoping this is the start of that sort of run with their first ever state title appearance. And hopefully this starts that trend of building into something like what Rochester has been over the last decades or so. And they got to be just thrilled with this season. You look at Coach Grady kind of joking around with some of his players and just milking into the final 10 minutes or so. It's been quite a run for the Warriors as well.
Half their starters seniors, so of the 10 on the field, their keeper Ceres and a senior as well. So that's 6 out of the 11 that started today for Coach Grady as seniors. But you're right, a building block of a season for sure. The best season in school history. He's just sent a wave of new players, including a third goalkeeper who's going to come into the match. So he is going to get everybody in. I love seeing that happen.
Awesome.
Here towards the end. We did see Becca Justice go off, number 15, a goal scorer on that last sub, so she's likely played her last minutes of high school soccer, going on to SIU Edwardsville, who's had a fantastic program, soccer program at college level. And look at that, there's a whole new team coming out. Some of those were starters that are ready for Deerfield to head back into the game. Margot Sylvan, who was in there, number 10, she is the career leader in a couple different categories. This one's in on goal, and Gleason saves it to the side. Sylvan, 8th all-time in goals, 5th all-time in assists. And she was in that group ready to sub back in. And I think this one's pretty easy. Everybody on the field, come off.
You're not going to list them off one by one?
No. A lot of them have been in the match so far. We'll tell you that both teams switched goalies. For Deerfield, it's their third goalie in Sarah Blumenfeld, a 5'8 junior who's playing in her 7th game this year. And you see the Deerfield Warriors fans cheering for their team as 11 came on and 11 went off. For Rochester, Emily Woolett, the freshman goalie, 5'7", playing in her 15th game this year. They've had a lot of blowouts and chances with 9-0 and 7-0 and 8-0 wins to get a freshman goalie into the match. And here they do it in the state championship. And with Maddie Gleason headed to Southeast Missouri State, their other 2 goalkeepers are freshmen. So it'll be a competition to take over, and I'm sure they learned quite a bit from Maddie Gleason throughout this season.
Yeah, we'll talk about a great mentor to look up to in her final year at Rochester, a Division I caliber player. And certainly it'll be a fun competition with those, but you can't really start off your career much better than having a chance to back up and learn from a Division I player.
Up ahead for Williams. The Rockets pushing forward still and getting it across midfield. You know they don't want to concede in the last 7.5 minutes, having built a 4-0 lead throughout the state title game.
Yeah, definitely not, especially with a lot of different subs and things like that. They try to get on the scoreboard.
A foul right near midfield, and Rochester will have a free kick. Cochran, who scored the first goal, will go down as the game winner. She put them on top 1-0, and I think she took a knee-to-knee contact there, the way she was limping and now trying to walk it off. Let's see if we can get a look at it.
Just
kind of got the left knee right to the back of the leg.
Got some incidental contact. She looks to be all right, though, starting to walk it off.
Down the sideline for McNicholas, who we mentioned earlier, is the basketball player and track star. Down the sideline for Deerfield is Horgan back in. One of the starters that came back in at that last massive substitution. Rochester. Cochran will leave it off for McNicholas. Push forward. Cochran in the middle to Williams. She's already got a pair. Pulls it back. Tried to pass instead of taking another shot. And now it's over to Garland. This one popping through to Kylie Tucker. She can't win it. Shea Feldman clears it out for Deerfield.
Wise, unselfish play by Amanda Williams, but intrinsically as a fan, I'm just like, go for the Hattie. Give it a shot.
Now we've got already. 4 substitutions for Rochester and for Deerfield. Siri Eason back in. So the senior goalie who subbed out earlier comes back in for the final 5:45. And Coach Grady giving I-5 to the backup goalie. And Eason is back out there for Deerfield. Rochester made a bunch of subs as well. Number 9, Ruth Moore, is now up front. 21, Kristen Campbell is a forward on that far right side. It's still Williams. Now McNicholas gets it back to Williams. Knocks it forward towards the box, and Feldman there to clear it. Out of the way. Also 25, Emma Chapman was a new sub for the Rockets. And I believe 7, Julia Meadows, is in that back line. With it is Eason. She'll punt it away. Across the timeline. Deerfield turns it through Imyak, and now headed for the corner for Rosenweek. And out of bounds. 4-0 Rochester with the lead. There's McNicholas ready to throw it in. Ruth Moore knocks it back towards McNicholas, but out of bounds. Horgan gives it to Sloan to throw it in. Do it right. That one goes an illegal throw. She's laughing about it.
Seen a lot in this game.
Annie Sloan will laugh about that. She just drilled her teammate. Another sub for Rochester. They changed goalies again. Aspen Thomas is in. Let's see that throw again. Horgan had it, gave it to Sloan, and Sloan just threw it right off of her.
Trying to get possession.
An illegal throw. I think Horgan turned around and said, "What are you doing?" Sloan's just laughing going upfield. Aspen Thomas, the 5'4" freshman, is now in at goal. So both teams played all 3 goalies today. Williams loses possession to Sloan, who turns it around to McKenna Crockford. Now for Imyak. Gives it to Sylvan. Back to Imyak. And out wide left. Deerfield pushing forward the last 3 minutes. Trying to find a goal. Headed out by Riedel. Imyak back on the far left side and knocked out of bounds by Meadows.
Deerfield not quitting yet, trying to get on the board here.
Shot in.
Almost did.
Yeah, juggled there by Thomas, and then she's able to secure it.
Yeah, and the Warriors obviously one game shy of the obvious prize, and you get another look at another one of their very close chances where they've had a few opportunities to get on the board in this one. And it's either been a good save or good save by the crossbar that's prevented them from doing so. However, the Warriors got to be pumped about their season, and regardless if them losing 4-0 here in the state championship game, they'll still go down as the best Deerfield girls soccer team in the school's history, and nothing can't take that away from them. And Coach Grady obviously going to be proud of his crew.
Yeah, single season record in shutouts with 18 after getting one more yesterday. They also won a sectional title for the first time in school history, 20-win year for the first time in school history, and they beat Evanston from the CSL South in the conference end of the season showcase game. This one's knocked back. They won that one 1-0 over Evanston. The Central Suburban League split into North and South. So a big season for Deerfield. But as you mentioned, one win short of the state title. Rochester is going to get to 25 wins for the second year in a row. They're going to take home their third state championship. 08, they won it in 1A. 15, they won it in 1A. And now they're going to have one next to it that's got a 2 on it, a 2A trophy for state. Williams, who's got 2 of the goals. It was Cochran scored the first off a header. Justice got her 30th of the year. Then Amanda Williams, who stands at the ball now, got goals number 3 and 4 to get to 30 as well. The Deerfield fans, you saw them, they're all in red, cheering on their Warriors for the last 30 seconds. And same thing we just talked about, Brian. They're very proud of the season their Warriors have had.
Yeah, definitely. The northern suburbs for Deerfield making the trek up here, and now both fan bases on their feet, rightfully applauding their schools' respective seasons.
Yeah, that first place trophy is going to go back to the Springfield area again. The Rochester Rockets won it in 1A last year. Now they've won it in 2A. A 6-1 win over Chicago Latin last season. A 4-0 win over Deerfield. Up a class, and it doesn't matter. Same result, state championship for Chad Kuchar and the Rochester Rockets. Goals from Katie Cochran, Becca Justice, and then a pair from Amanda Williams. And back-to-back state titles for the Rochester Rockets in 2 different classes to take home that first-place state trophy. A 4-0 win for Rochester over Deerfield. We'll be back to wrap up the broadcast as Rochester wins the state title again on CSN Chicago.
Country Financial wants to know, what do you look for in a financial partner?
Somebody that has the same values as I do, an honest person, a person of integrity.
Who could kind of lay out a step-by-step, baby step plan.
Everyone can use a little financial guidance, and at Country Financial, we'll work with you to understand your needs and goals to help you own your future.
You can't plan a future with someone you can't trust.
Visit ownyourfuture.com to find a local Country Financial representative today.
The IHSA State Championships on Comcast Sportsnet are brought to you by Country Financial. Visit countryfinancial.com. Country Financial will help you build a plan with insurance and financial solutions to help you get where you want to go. Call your local rep at 1-866-COUNTRY or visit countryfinancial.com today.
First, meet the principal, the superintendent principal of Deerfield High School, Christopher Diggum. Athletic Director Robert Ruiz. Trainer Melissa Boger. Head coach Rich Grady. Assistant coach Ryan Crane. Assistant coach Bill Stefford. Assistant coach Dave Hegel. The team manager Sarah Blumenfeld. Double zero, Lily Emelfarb. Number 1, Sari Eisen. Number 2, Sydney Fleshman. Number 3, Haley Emery. Number 4, Mirel Haas. Number 5, Kat Stanisek. Number 6, Chloe Kapis. Number 7, Annie Sloan. Number 8, Devin Campisi. Number 10, Margot Sylvan. Number 11, Gabby Laser. Number 12, Erin Rosensai. Number 13, Melanie Amyak. Number 14, Lizzie Kepler. Number 15, McKenna Crawford. Number 16, Julia Harlan. Number 17, Anya Horgan. Number 18, Molly Goodman. Number 19, Marissa Hyland. Number 20, Ashley Morgan. Number 21, Shay Fellman. Number 22, Samantha Lynn. Number 23, Sophie Gray. Number 24, Jesse Holloway. Number 31, Carly Morris. With a final record of 24 wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. First, meet the principal of Rochester High School, Brent Ashbaugh. Trainer, Pete Stoll. Head coach, Chet Ketcher. Assistant coach, Brent Stuckey. Assistant coach, Megan DeBar. The manager, Hannah Anderson. Manager, Sarah Kinsella. 00, Emily Willett. Number 0, Maddie Gleason. Number 1, Aspen Thomas. Number 3, Katie Cochran. Number 4, Maddie Schmidt. Number 5, Ellie Crum. Number 7, Julia Meadows. Number 8, Amanda Williams. Number 9, Ruth Moore. Number 10, Kylie Tucker. Number 12, Ellie Milnes. Number 13, Bailey Smith. Number 14, Riley Ross. Number 15, Becca Jostis. Number 16, Megan McNicholas. Number 17, Kelsey Barron. Number 18, Jamie Riedel. Number 19, Maddie Caps. Number 20, Mason Garland. Number 21, Christian Campbell. Number 23, Emma Hughes. And number 25, Emma Chapman. Will Coach Grady and captains from Deerfield High School please step forward to receive the second place trophy? Will Coach Kutcher and captains from Rochester High School please step forward to receive the first place trophy? Congratulations to both teams.
Two goals in each half for the Rochester Rockets as they win the 2A Girls Soccer Championship here in IHSA 4-0 over the Deerfield Warriors on CSN Chicago. Let's take a look at the highlights from this match. Deerfield off a corner had the first chance of the game. Header off the crossbar from Shay Feldman. We went immediately down to the other end, and Rochester took a 1-0 lead on a corner kick header of their own. Katie Cochran, the sophomore, with goal number 1. Then it's Becca Justice, the senior, who grabs goal number 2 in the first half and a 2-0 lead for the Rockets. Another crossbar stung by Deerfield. They did that twice in the match. It was Kappas that time, and then it was Amanda Williams to finish it off. There's her first goal on a feed from Mason Garland, and here comes goal number 2 off a feed from Mason Garland, who did the work in the corner, brings it in, and finds number 8 right in the middle of the box for the second goal of the match, and a 4-0 win for the Rochester Rockets as they grab back-to-back state titles. They had one in 1A last year. Now they have one in 2A. My partner, Brian Bito's down on the field. He's got some post-game interviews for us. Brian, take it away.
Thanks, Nate. Coach, first of all, congratulations. You have to be thrilled with not only the outcome, but it was the balance of it all. You got great defense. You had converted on some scoring opportunities. All in all, just a fabulous day for your squad.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much, by the way. But, yeah, I think the girls showed up today, and, it was all of them. It was a whole team. It was the defensive effort. I thought our defense did a great job. Obviously, our midfield, they ran the show in the middle. And then up top, our attack just, they were moving off the ball. They were doing the right things. They were making the right passes. It was like you said, it was a full team win today.
So you win last year. A lot of the same players returned this year. What's unique about this season, though?
Well, obviously the bump up to 2A, that was something that played into it. But just the way the girls played, they knew the system, they knew each other. Coming into it, we didn't know what to expect. As the 2A playoffs came in, but it didn't faze our girls. They just played as teams came, and they took every game as just every game one at a time. So. I couldn't be more proud of a group of girls. They were phenomenal this year and today.
So 1A last year, 2A this year. Should we just bump you up to 3A next year?
I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think we have the numbers of students to do that. But, like I said, I'm just happy for what they did this season.
I appreciate the time, Goats. Congrats again.
Very much.
And now we're joined by our country financial player of the game, Amanda Williams, who scored twice today, the third and fourth goals. Amanda, first of all, congrats on the win. And what was so special about this season as opposed to last?
I think what was so special was that we have 11 seniors, and a good portion of us have played together since we were 9 or 10, and we really wanted it this season. We worked hard, we worked together, and we couldn't have done it without all of us out there working hard.
You talk about the 2 goals, both set up from Garland. It seems like you two have great chemistry out there.
Yeah, she does a great job of bringing it around to the touchline and beating one-on-one, slotting it back, and I just knew I had to be there and put it in.
Thanks again, Amanda. Go celebrate with your teammates.
Thank you.
Back to you, Nate.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks to our Country Financial Player of the Game, Amanda Williams, who scored 2, assisted on another, Rochester winning 4-0, and head coach Jack Kuchar taking his 3rd state trophy championship back to the Springfield area as the Rochester Rockets knock off Deerfield 4-0. That's going to do it for our broadcast of IHSA Girls 2A Soccer Championships here at North Central College. For my partner, Brian Beto, our producer, Russ Leonard, and our fantastic Rush Media crew, I'm Nathan Weaver. Thanks for watching IHSA Girls Soccer on CSN Chicago.